Okay, how's everybody doing? Everybody can hear me? All right, you guys. Thanks for everybody coming on here on this webinar. I know it's a little confusion with the times and date. We're sorry about that. We've just been going through a lot of changes here. Big changes, good changes. I'm going to go ahead and start off with a little legal disclaimer. I know nobody reads those, but I'm going to go ahead and let you pretend that you do so we're not liable for any of that. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and get started. We got a bit of stuff to go over here. All of this information will be able to be better explained by the mods in the chat. So any questions you guys have at any point here, go ahead and just ask them in the chat and someone will get your question, and I will try to do as much as I can when I have the chance. There will be a small break for a Q&A where I can try to get back to them. Most of the questions I'm sure will be answered by that point. So what we're going to start off with, I don't know if most of you are in the Discord. I'm sure you guys are. But John, our local small cap guru, he has made a beautiful PowerPoint that I'm going to go through here, which also go ahead and join our Discord. There should be a link down in the chat here where you can go there and become a member, and all of this information will be at your fingertips, and we'll just keep adding stuff. This is just the beginning, I promise. Things are just going to get better and better from here. So let me go ahead and pull that up and we'll get going here. All right. How to journal trades, track progress with Evernote. Why should you journal your trades? One mistake I made in the beginning of my trading career was not tracking my data, journaling trades. It is much easier to make the same mistakes over and over again if you are not learning from them. Journaling will help you by forcing you to stare at your problems and be more aware of them. You will identify what is working for you and what is not working. I prefer Evernote for journaling my trades because I can copy and paste my charts for entries, exits to look over. But I think you should also add TrueView or EdgeWonk for statistics. A combination of both will give you the best data in my opinion. And I would have to say I absolutely agree with him 100%. It's a little tedious at the beginning, but eventually what I have found is that it actually becomes almost a game because you're playing against yourself. Yes, we all know we play against the market and millions of other traders, but honestly, at the end of the day, this is about making you a better trader. So I could not agree more with what he's saying. Getting started. You will need to download Evernote. It is free. All you have to do is sign up with an email. You also do have the option to upgrade if you'd like for a small price. And on that note, I've actually seen the upgraded version. It's absolutely incredible. Obviously, at the beginning when money's a little tight, and even if it's not, it's best to just start with the free version and get the hang of it, and then definitely upgrade from there, I would say. Creating your journal. Now go to Notebooks, rename your journal whatever you'd like to, and get ready to create your very first journal entry. I named mine Trades 2019. That's also a good point, is to make sure you're not just throwing a bunch of information in there and forgetting about it. Absolutely make sure you are keeping this, just stay on this and it will pay off. I absolutely guarantee it. entering your very first trade, which I'm sure most of you have already done this, but there's no other time to start over again like right now. Start fresh. You know, we're still just the beginning of 2019. To submit a trade. Wow, we lost our video there. I'm sorry, you guys. I'll just start right here because you guys still heard what I was saying. So, entering your very first trade. To submit a trade, you will need to click on New Note on the top left corner. This will pull up a note to enter the data. Tags. On the top left, it shows Add Tag. You will need to add 3 tags on each trade, either win or loss, long or short. And the date, for example, today, when he made this, 3/4/2019. This will keep your journal organized. You will be able to scroll through all your wins and losses and dates easily. And I do know that a few of you out there are international. I believe the Netherlands, where a couple of the guys I've been talking to, you know how to do the same thing. You're used to us Americans, the way we do it. So why does this keep clicking off? I'm sorry, you guys. I'm not sure what's... I think we got it fixed. Okay. I don't know why it keeps losing signal. That's weird. Adding grid, table, and copying and pasting chart for entry exit. You will need to add a grid table from the toolbox. I like my table to have symbol, entry, exit, float, and volume, and notes. Fill out the table to your liking. Copy and paste chart. If you don't have execution arrows, you can edit the pick on Evernote and add arrows by right-clicking image and click Annotate this image. Then add arrows and save. Or draw arrows on pick, edit. Then just copy and paste it into your journal entry. You can add multiple pictures, for example, 1-minute chart and daily chart, so you can see your trades in more detail. Be as detailed as you'd like. This is your journal, and that's a great point, is that you don't have to follow the way we were doing it or John does it. I do it almost exactly like he does, ironically, but do what's comfortable for you. But I would absolutely say you need to have those right here, the symbol, entry, exit, float, and volume notes. That would be a minimum, to be honest. So make sure that you have those in there. I would also add market conditions, time, you know, catalyst, anything that you think pertains to your style of trading. Absolutely make sure that you get all of that in there. So this is how John has set it up here. That symbol, entry, exit, float, and volume. He's pulling his from FinViz, which is a great resource and free online. I actually used them a lot in the beginning. And then down here are his notes. And this is also where you could put a lot of the market conditions, catalyst, that type of thing. On this one, let's see what... took a short on support break, 5-minute signal, and covered it at support, 15-minute. Accidentally covered too much and went long on exit. No big deal, sold right away, decent gain. Plan worked perfectly, and good price targets. That is a phenomenally perfect note. That in 2 years from now, you could go back and you would know exactly that. You'll remember that trade, that day, that moment. This is critically important to putting this together and making this work for you. You just entered a trade. After you exit and go to main menu, you will see your trade and it will be in an organized format. Last thing to do, green day or red day. Right click on the date in tags and click on style. Then simply press the green or red to color code your dates so you know your red and green days. Look at the next slide to see what your menu should look like. So right here are his tags, the date, and then you can see short, win. It's very simple. I'm sure you're all kind of like, okay, yeah, get on. But this is important, especially for the newbies. This stuff is overwhelming, and this will help you. I guarantee it. Be consistent with your journal. As you can see, this is my first entry in this journal. So far, I only have 3 tags because my only trade was a win. It was a short, and I also tagged the date. Once you keep doing this, you will notice how organized everything is. From visualizing your green streak, color of dates and tags, or red days, and how many wins or losses you have all in order. You will have a total of 4 tags with multiple entries: win, loss, short, long. So you can review all your long trades easily or short trades easily. Stay consistent with your journal. It is great to be able to look at all your trades in one organized place. John, thank you very much for doing this. This was absolutely a beautiful PowerPoint. And the material inside is just, you guys go to the Discord, sign up to be a member, download this, use this. This is something I cannot stress enough. This is a fantastic thing to use to improve your journaling. Okay, 1 second here, guys. We are going to get moving on here. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the level 2 overview and basics on reading tape. This is going to be more of just a kind of learning what it is, the basics, not super in detail. That is definitely something you can talk to us more about, and we will be offering in our education programs through our website and Discord here in the future. All right, you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and I use Thinkorswim. I mostly use the PC version to trade, but a lot of times I'm on the mobile app, which I absolutely love. It's actually very clean and very organized. It's all free to download. But to what we're gonna do here, we're gonna go ahead and use the PC version as it'll make more sense for reading the tape. So I'm going to show you guys. This is confusing to a lot of people, is that it looks so different on every single version that it gets a little confusing. So I believe this is the E-Trade. I believe this. Not remember which one. I just want to give you guys examples of how different they can look, and then I'll show you what I use, and it'll make a little bit more sense. But all of these that I'm showing you, these are all exactly the same. They just have their own little color coding and the way it's set up, but it is all the same. Are there any certain stocks anybody wants to look at from maybe this past week where we can look at the tape? One amazing thing in Thinkorswim is this program called On Demand, and I'm going to show you a little bit about that right now. But what it does is you can actually go back in time and watch the trades in real time as they unfold. I know the big trade this week for a lot of small caps was BPTH. So let's look at that one. I think. Okay, guys. So if you are on Thinkorswim, all you gotta do is click. Where did it go? What is going on here? There we go. So then right here where the date is. Are you guys getting a bunch of echo? Why is it doing that? Hold on a second. Is that better? Is the echo gone, you guys? I feel like it is. Okay, I'm sorry about that, you guys. Okay, so you click the on demand, you wait for it to buffer. When it says on demand up here, that means you're essentially live and you can back up. This is the calendar. I had it set to the 6th at 9 o'clock, as this is where this stock started to really take off. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and do like the 101 basic read through on what level 2 is. Level 2 can provide enormous insight into a stock's price action. It can tell you what type of traders are buying or selling a stock, where the stock is likely to head in the near term, and much more. Essentially, it's the order book for the stocks. When orders are placed, they are placed through many different market makers and other market participants. Level 2 will show you a ranked list of the best bid and ask prices from each of these participants, giving you detailed insight into the price action. Knowing exactly who has interest in a stock can be extremely useful, especially if you are day trading. So on Thinkorswim, on this left side here, right here, it says bid. On the right side says ask. To pull this up, it's on the right hand side. That's all you're doing right there. And then up here on the right hand side, that's time and sales. And that's one thing that I do not think people use enough when they're using level 2, is they forget sometimes to use time and sales. I personally believe that time and sales is critically important. Okay, so using the time and sales and the bid and ask is critical, I'm saying. So what this does is, if you see here, it will show you the highest bid to the lowest bid. A lot of times this will be color-coded like on the other examples I was showing you, so that way it's easier on your eyes. That's the whole idea of it. So on the ask side, again, the same thing, but in reverse. The lowest ask and the highest ask. So what'll happen, they call it stacking. And right here you see 10-11, 10-11. That's multiple, usually market makers or retail traders, lining up on the same bid. These numbers right here, these you got to add 2 zeros. So 3, that's 300. 1, 100. 2, 200. On the ask, you can see right here it's 23. That was 2,300. The way that I like to use this, because a lot of times what happens is there's what we call fluff. They'll come in and put a fake bid essentially, or a fake ask to kind of throw you off. And I'm not kidding. That's literally what they're doing. So what you do is you watch the time and sales. And if this doesn't go through up here, and this is just one example because this can change, but if it doesn't go through up here or it disappears, that's what it's usually a market maker trying to get everybody to go in short or go in long, and then boom, all of a sudden this just will turn red or green and you're left hanging. So time and sales with the bid and ask is absolutely critical to use. So let's go ahead and just kind of watch this stock a little bit here. Watch the time and sales as these come in. It's a little bit easier to see the numbers on the time and sales. As you can see, 700, 100. What I like to do is I do pay attention to the numbers, obviously, especially when they're bigger, like, 17,000, 23,000. See, we got a 1,200. Kind of watch these as you're watching this to see where the stock is going to go, essentially. That's not always going to be true. In small caps, I feel like this is a great scalping technique. Large caps, I play options mostly now, but I still use this every day, you guys. It's a great way to really confirm where you're going. And remember, this is only one indicator, if you want to even call it that, to show where it's going. So I've been talking about market makers, and just a little bit about these terms I'm using. Market makers are the players who provide liquidity in the marketplace. They are basically the ones required to buy and sell when nobody else is buying or selling. ECNs are electronic communication networks. These are the computerized order placement systems. Make sure that you all know that anyone can trade through ECNs, even huge, large institutional traders. And then there's the wholesalers, which many online brokers sell their order flow to wholesalers. These order flow firms then execute orders on behalf of usually the retail traders. One of the terms that I don't think it's used as much anymore that I kind of like to remember in my head because it's easy is a term we call the axe. And I think it's one of the most important market maker factors to look for. This axe is the market maker that controls the price action in any given stock. You can find out which market maker this is by watching the level 2. Usually it takes, a few days, a couple weeks to really consistently see who's dominating the price action. That person, that market maker, they're called the axe. I just feel like it's an easy term to remember. And this is really important, I believe, because once you kind of know who that is and you're following, that's who you want to make sure to trade with. They typically result in higher probability. Again, not always, especially when they're throwing out fluff, but I'm telling you, 9 out of 10 times, that's who you want to follow. So, why use level 2? Level 2 can tell you a lot about what is happening with a given stock. You can tell what kind of buying is taking place, retail or institutional, by looking at the type of market participants involved. Large institutions do not use the same market makers as retail traders. If you look at ECN order sizes for irregularities, you can tell when institutional players are trying to keep the buying quiet, which can mean a buyout, accumulation. One of those things could be taking place. By trading with the axe that I brought up before, when the price is trending, you can greatly increase your odds of a successful trade. Remember, though, the axe provides liquidity, but its traders are out there to make a profit just like anyone else. It is us versus them versus you. We'd like to say at Precision Day Trading, it's all of us versus them, and that's why we're here. So this is a critical thing to remember, though, that you are fighting against very smart people, big money, guys that have been in this for, decades. Some, and a lot of it has changed in the last, 10, 20 years. But every day the programs just get crazier and crazier and better at doing their job. I did see an article recently, though, that last year, 2018, the computers, the algos actually did not have a high probability of success compared to years before. So what does that mean? I don't really know, but level 2 is still one of those great ways to see tricks and the deception in the marketplace. So a little bit on that. Although watching the tape can tell you a lot about what's happening, there's also a lot of deception here. here's a couple tricks that I found. I believe this was off of Investopedia, and they really nail it, I think. Market makers can hide their order sizes by placing small orders and updating them whenever they get a fill. They do this in order to unload or pick up a large order without tipping off other traders and scaring them away. After all, nobody is going to attempt to push through a 500,000 share resistance. But if a persistent 10,000 share resistance is there, traders may still think it is a beatable barrier. Market makers also occasionally try to deceive other traders using their order sizes and timing. An example would be someone place a large offer to get short sellers on board, like I was kind of explaining a minute ago, only literally to pull the order and place a large bid. These things are not going to be something you notice right at the beginning of trading, but eventually you'll start to see these trends and these examples over and over, and you will learn to know what is going on, because this will force the new shorts to cover as everybody tries to react to that large bid. And what you all know, when you're in the middle of a trade and you've already clicked the trigger, going back is the hardest part. It's hard to cut a loss. I understand, but there's nothing worse than watching that. Just if you've gone short, that screen just turns green. And that's something we saw here on BTH, was a lot of guys thought this was just going to dump at any second. It already gone up 100, 200, 300, 500%, but it kept ripping. This thing was so incredibly strong. I'm actually going to jump forward here so you guys can see what it did. I'm sure you all know. Let's go ahead and jump forward to Thursday. Let this go ahead and buffer. I mean, look at this. We're already now starting the day off at $20 and just ripping up here. So you see all these red orders coming in? This is all these guys trying to get short, because let's be honest, we know now that this is where it peaked out, 73.52. But at the moment when you see this, let's be honest, who would have thought that it was going to keep going? Who would have thought it was going to come down? You really don't know. It's hard to see these trends. I know a lot of people probably blew up accounts, several thousands of dollars in the hole, because they kept trying to short this over and over, yet it just kept pushing and pushing. So you see all these red orders. I'm going to back up just about an hour and you'll see how crazy the difference is. So at this point we're at 25.80, and you can see these orders are going to start coming in quick. Look at all this green. I mean, everybody's just buy, 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 buy. And this thing starts to rip, as we know. But at the time, look at these guys trying to get short in here, 1,000, 200, 400. Some of your accounts, that boom, you're done. It blows you up. I understand, So the bottom line on this is that level 2 reading tape can give you a unique insight into a stock's price action, but there are also a lot of things that market makers can do to disguise their true intentions. Therefore, the average trader, you and I, cannot rely on level 2 and reading tape alone. So use it in conjunction with other forms of analysis when determining whether to buy or sell a stock. And that's one thing I'm always you're gonna hear from me a lot is, don't use one thing. Might as well throw darts at a board and pick a stock if you're going to do it that way. You really need to learn what is going on here, what's going on here, and see the trend. Watch the buyers, watch these numbers as they come in. It will give you the confidence that you're headed the right direction. It will also give you the insight to, I need to get out of here. Sorry about that. What the heck's going on here? But yeah, because if you buy in on the trend and all of a sudden you just see red ticker just popping, you might want to cut that loss. I mean, see, you're trying to get short, and then watch this. This stock was unbelievable. I'm sure this made careers. This also probably ruined lives. Let's just watch this for a little bit. I want you guys to really pay attention to the correlation between the price here and the action down here as some of these bids stack and some of these asks stack. This one was a little bit unique that it just started ripping, but that's pretty normal. It's tricky though with the fluff from the market makers, you know, and you've got high frequency traders just whipping 30,000 size bids, and you know it's tricky, but I promise if you watch this for a while it will make sense. So let's just go ahead and watch the time and sales for just a minute, and then we'll move on a little bit here. But go ahead and watch as this kind of ticks up, and we all know what happens, but go ahead and watch this because I'm gonna jump to the short side here in just a minute. Yeah, BPTH was a supernova. That's no joke. So we all know this thing just started ripping, but let's see what happened here on Friday. So here's at the beginning of the day. I believe, yeah, we opened around 34, and I think it was about was it about 11, I believe, where we start to see the shorts come in. Yeah, so you see the trend now, but at the time, you know, this thing starts pushing back up here, you know, and as these are flashing red and green, we're seeing order stacking. People thought this was going to rip again. I saw a lot on social media where people were like, "Oh, this is going up. This is going up." I think even right, yeah, I believe, was it the end of Thursday where this? Yeah, there. So that was the trend on Thursday as this dropped. But what I wanted to, man, I wish we could. Does anybody have I'm trying to think of one that had a little more. Does the audio keep cutting out? I've got audio and video on me on here, and everything's fine. I'm not sure why. It's good. I don't know why this keeps cutting out, you guys. I'm so sorry. I'll definitely do some work between now and 7 tonight. I'm really sorry about that. We went through everything yesterday, I promise. We usually don't have as much problems. Okay, so anybody have any stocks? You want to look at that SEEL, Veronica? Is anybody else good with that? Yeah, let's go ahead and look at this one. I think that was what day was that, you guys? Was that Thursday? Okay, thanks. Let's back up here a little bit. Yeah, this was a great call out also. I believe John called this one out first thing, and I even started following this. Even though I play a lot of large caps options, this was another big mover. Yeah, and I mean you can see, just you don't even need to know the catalyst. I mean look at that, 6 a.m. when this opens up for pre-market, bam. I mean that just took off. So right here at the opening bell, let's actually back up at open bell and watch what goes on there, because this is pretty interesting actually. This will be a good little example. Give it 1 second to pre-buffer. Okay, so let's even literally open. Man, that thing ripped. Okay, you guys. So as this gets going, let's watch the time and sales and keep an eye on these bids as they stack up. I mean, look at some of these orders, 4,000, 5,400. I mean, on a low floater like this, I mean, this is where all that volume came in. TROV on Friday, Bart? Yeah, we'll look at that after this. Will we look at options today? Maybe not. tonight I was gonna do a week look ahead, and I'm a macro options trader, so that's really important to me. So maybe if you can make the 7 o'clock tonight, I will go a little bit into that. You guys just look at this thing ripping. This is just unbelievable. But look at all these guys trying to get short. I mean, these guys they're losing it, and that's okay. I mean, by this point, it's already, it's already 100%. But man, look at these order flows, you guys. This is what I'm talking about. You gotta watch these numbers. You gotta watch the stacks. You gotta be, full-time trader's a full-time job for a reason. Yes, a lot of staring at the screen. I know there's a lot of gurus out there that'll tell you don't have to look at time and sales. Don't even need to look at a chart. They're absolutely out of their mind. Or they've been in the game for so long, they might not have to. But the guy who just started in January, that come on, like this is important stuff to be looking at, you guys. And you see how this is trying to come back down here because these big short orders were popping in there, but then you got, twice the order as this coming in, 4 times the order, 5 times the order. I mean, you can't really fight the trend, and don't fight the trend, not as a new trader. As you get more advanced, you will learn when to grab that short on the way up, and then you'll watch it come down. But until that point, go with the trend. That is a golden rule. Yeah, we'll watch this just a minute, and then I'll move on to another one, just so you guys kind of get a couple examples to actually look at what's going on. You see as this order flow comes in. Now, one thing I do want to point out right here, I know most of the members in our Discord and a lot of you that come to this channel for the scanner, you are small caps traders. This is actually going to be a little bit more useful for actual trading for you, as were some of us large cap guys. The level 2s on high volume, they fly so fast that it is absolutely almost impossible to watch what's going on. So what I do is I literally will set my time and sales on my monitor too, and that's it. And it's running vertically. And I just use in the back of my head, red, green, 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 and that's where I'm confirming my trend. Let's move forward just a little bit here so we can see where this ends up. What do in the chat, you guys? What platforms you guys trading on? I'm kind of curious, so maybe I can pander a little more to your level 2, what that you would be using. Go ahead and just write in the chat what platform you're on. Can you include entry and exit? Yes, Vantage. When I hop onto this next stock, I will definitely go into that just a little bit more. This was more of just a basics, but that is a basic, so you're right. So let me, I will get into that a little bit. Thinkorswim TOS, my boys. That's what I like to see. And girls, sorry, no offense. Yeah, these order flows are just flying in here. So, you know what? Might as well do it while we're on here. So, if this was me, by this point, it would have been hard for me to get in long here. But watching this time and sales and this flow, I'm seeing an entry right here. So, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to pull up my dashboard. Let's see here. Let's make this an even. Let's make this a little more realistic. Let's go ahead and grab 1,000 shares here. So what I'm going to see here is I'm going to make sure that the trend that I think I'm seeing is confirmed on the time and sales and on the bid ask. So I'm a little bit hesitant here. I'm not seeing as much green, but these green ones I do see are big orders. So now that I'm seeing a little bit bigger and more consistent, I'm going to go ahead and take an entry right here. Okay, and we are in. Let me go ahead and open up the virtual so you guys can actually see here. So yeah, normally we'd, you know, I'm going to be sitting here checking my levels. I'm going to be looking at, you know, me personally, I'm going to be pulling up every single time frame. I'm going to be looking back, you know, at the daily to see where these levels are. I mean, you see back here on, what is that, 6/15/18. I mean, she ripped all the way up to 1734, which gives me the feeling in my head that this has the chance to run up. But as I'm saying that, do you see all these short orders that popped in there? Some of those were really big. That's where you got to sit on your hands, as I like to tell people, sit on your hands. So yeah, so I'd be checking this. I'm going to go ahead. I'd be pulling up indicators. I like to use EMAs. I like to pull up the VWAPs. I mean, there's so many things we could get into, which if you guys do join our Discord and join our community, this is something that we go over way more in detail. This is just to kind of get you guys an idea of what to look for and where to start your studying. So I'm going to jump forward here. Let's, realistically, I usually only trade till about lunchtime. I don't like the low drop in volume. So let's just go to about 11 here, 11:30. Okay. So you saw how this ripped up here, and now you know, there's some short guys trying to get in here, but it's basically just kind of consolidating between this 247 and this 314. So as I see this trend start to try to break a little, again, I'm going to look at the time in sales. What's going on here? What's the bid and ask? Are they stacking? What are these numbers? What are people waiting for? You know, you see down here, this 3.6, 3.5, 3.25. You've got really small orders waiting, you know, 3.08. So what that would mean to me is this stock could keep dropping, but I'm going to go ahead and stay in it for as long as I can to that point, and that's where I might start cutting my losses. But I also believe that if it hits that and it goes through that resistance, then I'm out. But if it bounces off that resistance, there's no reason for me to maybe even lower my costs and grab some more shares on the way back up. So at this point, it's still going to be chopping around. I believe this one went well into the afternoon at this point. Let's see here. Let's go towards the end of the day. Yeah, so you see how it just consolidated and kept chopping around, ripped up here. Now, by this point, the end of the day, a lot of these guys that have been short, they're going to have to start to buy back in, and they're going to get their squeeze. So now you're going to watch this drop. Then this is going to rip a little bit. I believe this one did. Yeah, this is the one. I actually did follow this. Forgot. Let's go to the very end of the day here. Okay. So when I got in back here, honestly, when I saw this drop initially here, I probably would have exited. However, again, like I said, when you're watching this time in sales and watching these level 2s and these bids, there was no reason to not think it was going to at least pop back up where then you could exit and get out for a small loss instead of losing, you know, pretty much everything on there. I know one of the other ones people asked for, and this is a good one to show entries and exits on, was TROV. So let's go to the beginning of the day here. I just think these examples are a lot easier than just hearing the textbook, me reading it. You can go to Investopedia and read all that. What was the catalyst on, you guys? Was this this one had a big catalyst, right? I don't remember what it was. Yeah. Yeah, lurking, you're absolutely right. It will rip. There are more buyers than sellers with no resistance. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Let's watch this move in there. Yeah, lurking. I'm gonna here towards the end of this here in just a minute. I'm gonna get into the actual stacking prices and what those mean. I'm gonna let this play for just a minute and watch these time and sales as this builds here at the beginning of the day. I'm gonna go ahead and pull off my dashboard. Well, yeah, makes it a little bit easier for you guys to see. No, lurking, you're good. You're good. You're absolutely right. You know what people need to see. I've seen your posts. You're a smart trader, man. You guys, I'm still on here. I'm going to go ahead and mute this because I got to do a bunch of typing, but I want you guys to kind of watch as these order flows come in and watch these bids and these stack. I'm going to talk about that in here in just a second, so kind of watch what's going on here. Yeah, Bart, I think you're absolutely right. I think it was right in here. Yeah, I think it goes right. Yeah, I think you're right. Right around 1040. Yeah, because that was a high AJ, so it went down there. Okay, I'm going to let this kind of play in the background, and I'm going to start pulling up some examples so you guys can get a little bit better acquainted with how the stacking and all these terms really work. And I have some examples. So I'll let this keep running so you guys can just watch what's going on here while I do this. Okay, so the level 2 window structure. The level 2 window structure is comprised of 4 components. There's the security information, the bid-ask window, the depth chart, and the bid-ask orders. The first element of the level 2 window is the general market information for the security, for the stock. This information includes the symbol name, the direction of the bid tick, the last price, and the net change. As for the bid for the security changes, the arrow will shift up and down from red to green, green to red, depending on which direction it's going, obviously. The last price is the last recorded price for the stock. Finally, the net change represents the total dollar amount change for the security from the previous day's close, which obviously, if you're already looking at that stock, you probably already know is probably on the gapper list, probably on our scanner, and that's why you're looking at it, or you saw some news, a catalyst, etc., etc. So let me go ahead and pull up this example. I believe it is, which guy is it? It's this guy. Let me go ahead and make that a little bit bigger here. Okay, so you see the symbol. We all know that's Apple. You see the bid tick, red arrow going down, trend going down. The last price, 126. I wish. The net change, $1.41. So that was from yesterday. So the next part I will show is the bid ask. Let's go ahead and blow this up a little bit. Whoa. So the bid ask data contains the current bid ask prices for the security. This data has 4 columns: price, depth, size, and spread. The price in the bid ask window displays the current bid by the asking price. The depth represents the number of orders at the given price. So let's say you have 3, and then there at 3 and then 1, then there are 3 buy offers for every 1 sell. I hope that makes sense. The size shows you the actual size for the bid and ask orders. So if you have 1,000 by 100, that would mean that there are traders attempting to buy 1,000 shares at the given price, while there's only 100 shares at the sale price. The spread represents the difference between the bid and ask. So anytime you hear us talking about it's in the spread, it was the spread, that's what we're talking about. It's the difference between the bid price and the ask price. The tighter the spread, I believe, the better. Most day traders should probably look to trade stocks with a higher volume and close spreads. Now we know in small caps that's sometimes not. It's usually a low float, high volume. I mean, it depends on what kind of trader you are. But this is just a general kind of place to start, so you can see the difference I was explaining from the example, and then from TOS. It's still the exact same information. You know, the symbol, the price, percentage change, you know, bid, ask, etc., etc. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the depth chart. Well, that does not want to blow up. There we go. So this is going to be different on a lot of your charts and a lot of your platforms. It's going to be a little bit different, but it's the basic same idea. So the depth chart is the visual representation of the orders and their respective size. The color of the graph in the depth chart will match the color of the bid ask data. If you are day trading attempting to go long, you will want to see the size and speed of the bars on the left side of the depth chart here to be larger than the bars on the right. This implies that there are more buyers in the market. So that's if you're going long, that's what you would want to see. And again, this looks different on every platform, but this was the best example where you could actually see the color chart. So I was gonna, there was another one I wanted to show an example on so we could get a little bit into the, get into the stacking here. Let's, Vantage, what do you mean you don't, what don't you see on the depth chart? You guys, I'll move on after this question. I just want to make sure that they're understanding. Okay, let me pull it back up here. So do you see how the color bars are represented in this chart? Here, let's pull up this other example. This might help too, just to see it a little clearer. So the bid-ask orders display all of the pending buy and sell orders in the market. There are 4 components of this window. There's the ID, order type, size, and time. The ID represents the ECNs that the order is routed through. The order type will be either the bid or ask depending on which window you are watching. The size is the size of the order. The time represents the time that the order was placed. The bid-ask window is the consolidated version of all the bid-ask orders. Traders usually will look at all the bid-ask orders in the level 2 window to gauge the momentum and to see how many orders are at a particular price. So back into this depth chart, if you see, this is the simplest version I could find. I'm trying to see if I have another version that makes it easier to see, but the depth chart is the visual representation of the orders and their respective size. The color of the graph in the depth chart will match the color of the bid-ask data. If you are day trading and you're trying to go long, you'll want to see the size and speed of those bars on the left side of this chart here, this depth chart, to be larger than the bars on the right. This basically implies that there are more buyers in the market. Does that make a little bit more sense, Vantage? It does. Are you sure? I really do understand this stuff is so fast and it's confusing. Yeah, John's right. It's just bars. It shows where people are at. That's exactly what it does. TOS, I believe it is. I used to have it in here. I don't use it on this because I have it on my separate. I believe it is right here. So if you see on the right hand side here where it says active trader, even though you're already an active trader here, right? You pull it up right here, and then you'll start to see these numbers will start to fill in. Let's go and see if I can find. Well, we're at a bad time here, so let's see. Let's back up a little bit. Actually, I think this was on Friday that it squeezed. Give it a second to pre-buff here. I'm going to let this buff a little bit and pop in, and then we'll move on to the next part. I'm going to keep on this level 2 tape reading, but I just want you guys to kind of see as this fills in. Yeah, sorry, Vantage. I was trying to leave that example up. I should have minimized it. But yeah, so right here, you pull it up, and then it starts to fill in. And I'll see if I can find the other example that actually starts to graph. It'll actually start to graph here with orders, and I think it might because it's on demand and not in real time. But let me see if I can find that example there. Okay, you guys. So essentially what I've been talking about with the bid and ask down here on the level 2 with the deception, that whole idea. This will go a little bit into the stacking too. They call it painting the tape or spoofing. It is illegal, but there it happens quite a lot. Basically, if you it's while resistance is often used to infer the presence of an interest in the market at a certain price, it doesn't necessarily follow that if a big sell order disappears, the stock will increase in price. There has to be sufficient demand on the buy side to cause that price to go up. I just bring up the whole spoofing thing a lot because honestly, it's what gets a lot of new traders into trouble because they see these bids start stacking up here. So right now you see this price 770, 770. So that's essentially a small stack, but it's starting to stack up. And what that shows is there is a lot of buyers that are wanting to buy at that price, and it will literally the term stack up as it starts to fill. And you see down here 681, 681, 681, 681, and then you can usually infer over here by the size where they're trying to sit. And the way I use this on both the bid and ask side is I kind of use this as my levels for intraday at that moment. So you got a lot of guys, asking for this lower price. These guys are willing to sell it here, but until these match up, nothing can necessarily, in this example, be sold. It can't be bought. These have to be the same price. So a lot of times you'll see the time in sales just kind of slow down almost to a halt because the spread is so large that nobody's essentially agreeing on supply and demand. And you guys, that's honestly all this really is. It's supply and demand at its worst, best. I really don't know what way you want to look at it, but this is something that is critical to understand. But again, I think a lot of people, they only rely on this. This is their, in quotes, strategy. And I'm sorry, but that's ridiculous. That's a joke. If that's what you're relying on, sure, maybe this week in small cap land, you would have made off with 50K. But every other week of the year in the last 50 years, good luck. Like, it's not going to get you. The idea here that I'm stressing, learn the tools you have, how to use them, what they do, but don't rely on one tool. That is the biggest mistake a trader can make. They start to have a good day just reading the tape, and they figured it out. They found the holy grail. The mystery is solved. That's not true, and it's going to get you in a lot of trouble. That's how you blow up accounts. That's how your wife leaves you. You really need to learn how to use multiple indicators if you're going to be doing this type of trading. A lot of TA. When I started out for the first couple of years, it was all about TA. I was a technical guy. It was science. I thought it made sense to me. Eventually, I am much more of a fundamental guy, a macro guy. I believe that events dictate sentiment. But that's more of a large cap type thing. Small caps don't generally care what the actual market is doing. So again, I will keep saying this over and over, is that using level 2, knowing what these numbers mean, that's really the basics of using it. But use this with other indicators. Chart out your stocks you're looking at. And that's the other thing I might put a little pin in, is don't pick 30 stocks every day to watch, especially at the beginning when you're getting going. Pick one, pick two, at most maybe 3 or 4. I know when you wake up and you hop on our scanners and you see all these gappers, you're like, wow, I could just, you know, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. I actually believe one of the best things for a new trader is to use a cash account sometimes, because you have to let your funds settle, so it forces you to essentially slow down and really only pick those A plus, A, maybe A minus trades for the day. And we all know in small caps, there's always a trade every day. It might not be a 5,000% runner like what we just saw, but there's always going to be a 50, 100. I mean, almost every day. I would say 98, 97% of the time. So again, learn what these time and sale numbers are doing. I think that makes sense. As soon as you buy, it will go in there. A market order. When you're bidding or asking and you're doing a you can see these numbers. These are massive orders, and some of these, that's the other thing, you guys. That's what the whole spoof thing I'm talking about. These might not even be true. It might say 10, so that's 1,000. But what if it's literally a hidden seller or a hidden buyer, and it's 50,000? There are ways that they do that. It's incredibly, I think, dishonest, but I do understand why they do it. At the same time, this is something as a new trader you definitely need to watch out for. Is there any other stock that somebody wants to look at before we kind of wrap up a little bit just on these basics? I know this is just touching the surface, you guys. That was the point, was to just literally dip your toe in here. As we go, we will get more and more detail, but we just need to get everybody up to that level that they at least know what's essentially going on the screen. And I know it's hard when you're looking at my screen TOS and you're using CMAG or you're using Robinhood. It's tricky to dissect all this when it's not what you're used to. But I promise, if you just sit down for a few minutes and literally look through your platform, it will all start to make sense here. I'm going to go through some of these comments here real quick and see. Yeah, exactly what Lurking just said is a great point. He said, I watched an order come on and off multiple times at different prices, and you could tell it was someone trying to squeeze out the most profit. That's absolutely nailed it on the head. John, I'm going to go ahead and jump over onto that SBOT, and maybe you can kind of explain here on chat what you are looking at. What's a date on that? I remember you bringing it up in chat, but... Okay. Let me, do you want me to back up to the beginning of the day here, John? Okay, hold on. Let's go 1028 here. Forest, we may leave this up for at least maybe 24 hours. There's another stream tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. Try to make that one maybe, and we may end up leaving that one on, but only probably for about 24 hours. It's just a disservice to our members, and yeah, so that's what we're probably going to end up doing with that. Oh, Eastern time. Sorry, John. Yeah, I'm in Mountain Time, so this happens to me often here. Yeah, John's pointing out a really good point here, you guys, what he's saying. So if you're in the chat, well, if you're not in the chat, sorry. What he's saying is, I want to show you guys something noobs fall for a lot. You see a flag, huge bid comes in, buyers get excited, and then boom, the stock dumps. Guys, don't fall for huge bids. They can sometimes be used to push the stock right before it dumps. Watch closely. So that's what I was talking about a little bit earlier. About how these market makers, they have control, you guys. They are making the market. So what they'll do is this, say this is on a good rip up or down, it doesn't matter, but for this example, it's on a rip up. All of a sudden you'll just see these giant bids and you're like, ooh, we're going up, we're going up. You know, we got this big bid where it's definitely going up, it's definitely going up. All of a sudden they pull it, and they can do this. They pull it, it's gone, boom, red, and the price just dives. You've got all these guys up here left hanging, career's over, account blown, wife out the door. You know, I mean, serious, this is the stuff that happens. That's a great example, John. And John, it starts to dump a little bit here, doesn't it? Yeah, I'll go to the 1 minute. Sorry, guys, I don't even use 5. I use 15 a day. Yeah, exactly the same thing happened to BPTH. Yeah, I did. And people made off like bandits that held. Yep, I see the huge bids of support, but support can become resistance. Exactly. That's how it works. That's how a stock works. Every time goes through resistance, becomes support. Support becomes resistance. That's the name of the game. It's crazy once you really know what that means. It's easy to say, but yeah, you see some of these orders coming through here, just huge, and you see this stuff stacking up here, you guys. I mean, this 2.5 level, you know, over and over. And I know my color's a little weird. That's just easier on my eyes after staring at a screen for 8 years. But you see the volume indicators here, and you'll just see some of these huge pushes on volume. I mean, compare this volume to these longs. I mean, that's, you know, that's why you're seeing these. I mean, look at that selling pressure right there, that wick. That's what that is. That they were trying to buy, and these guys were just nope, push it right back down. Yeah, and John's reiterating exactly what I was saying. You have to be aware of what's real. You will know whether a bidder is real if you watch tape closely and see if his big size actually gets printed. And that's, you guys, what I was telling you about earlier, about you'll see these giant bids and asks down here. They do mean something, but it's fluff a lot. Because if you don't see it being printed and running through the tape, it's not real. So this in conjunction with this, you don't just watch this. That would be suicide. And there's guys who do it. But if you're staring at your screen like this, I mean, sure, like you see where it's kind of moving and you're trying to watch the trend, but without this time in sales, I mean, you're asking for negative days, red months, blown up accounts. Yeah, these fake outs are this is a really good lesson for a lot of the newer traders. I mean, even, you know, experienced traders that don't really use this a lot. Yeah, you guys see this tape just going down. Watch, see, you see this 57.49 on these asks. There's a lot of pressure here pushing down on the stock, and these guys keep trying to get long here, but the pressure is just keeps pushing it back down, stuffing it below. Bart says, I don't know if I am wrong, but when the bid is full of huge orders and they get sold, the price drops, right? That on a basic level, technically, yes, but there is times, a lot of times, that actually doesn't cause the price to drop. And that's one of the hardest correlations to get used to, is where you think that it's going to drop, but depending on who it was and where the order was it a market order, or that all makes a difference on whether the price actually drops or goes up. That's a little bit more advanced, and maybe we'll get into that next. Maybe next time we can go a little bit more in detail. I just really wanted to give you guys kind of a general overview of this and kind of start getting it in your heads. Watch this week, I would say homework, is start watching this really closely. Don't even have to jump in the trade if you don't feel it. Just watch these drops. Watch these rips. I mean, look at this thing go. I mean, you just see this tape just printing red. But maybe that's what we'll go into next. Yeah, see, I mean, look at this pressure. Just, I mean, that's incredible. Yep, John's absolutely right. It is all about screen time. Everything, trading is about screen time. And I don't care what anybody else says until you are 99% profitable, screen time is important. Better to ignore the book and watch the time of sales? Not necessarily. To see the trend, yeah, but to watch the bids and asks down here, it's really good to kind of see where guys are lining up, where they're stacking up, because that kind of gives you an idea of where it could go, where it is going, where it wants to go, or why is it not moving? Why is the spread so large? And you'll see. So they're just as important. I would never say one is more important than the other. What I'm saying is you can't have one without the other. That's how important they both are. David says, I use time and sales, level tool, EMAs, and volume to set up my trades. Do you think that is enough, or I should use other indicators more? Well, I think that's a great start. And honestly, you could be very successful just off of those alone. The problem is I notice a lot of, with technical guys, they rely too much on their indicator sometimes. Sometimes you just got to have a feeling and go with it. I hate to say that, but you know, once you've done all your homework, you've got your volume, you've got your EMAs, you've got your catalysts, you're watching your time and sales, you're watching the spread, you know, it can still go against you. But at the end of the day, did you do everything you were supposed to do? Did you get in that trade knowing that you had a higher risk to reward and the probability was in your favor, but it just didn't happen? That's, yeah, you might lose some money, but that's still a lesson learned. So I would say that's definitely enough, but there's nothing wrong with learning. I mean, you like, for example, you click on your studies in here. I mean, look, this is Thinkorswim, this is their bag. They're known for this, but look at all these. I mean, these are all indicators, and there's multiple inside of these. Do I know what all of them do? Not even close. I mean, I've been using this for 8 years, and I still have, you know, I use maybe 20% of these. I've tried some of the others. They're just, it's not for me. But there's guys that definitely would say, you know, X, Y, and Z and W, you know, but it just depends on what you're trading and what you're due. Yeah, and John's right. But at the end of the day, it just comes down to daily chart. Yeah, he's absolutely right. Yeah, Freedom's right. Everything on TOS is free. There are certain plugins and other things later on that you can add, but Thinkorswim to me is, I mean, obviously everyone that knows me, I won't shut up about it, but I also love Tastyworks. I think there's nothing wrong. I like CMAG. I like DOS Pro. I mean, all of those. I guess what I'm trying to say is once you get used to your platform, that's the best. There's no denying it. I mean, Lightspeed, they're all fantastic at this day and age. The thing about TOS is features like this on demand for backtesting, the mobile app that comes with it, the indicators, the studies. I mean, it's incredibly powerful, but it's also, it can be laggy, some people say. It's overcomplicated sometimes. It's not Robinhood, so it's not free. So what I often recommend, and there's a few of us in the PDD community that do this, is they use Robinhood to actually execute their trades to get the zero commissions, but they'll use Thinkorswim or Tastyworks for charting. And because it's so powerful and it's free, it's kind of a no-brainer. One thing to tell you, if you're going to look at Thinkorswim and download it today, is you can only do this usually during market orders. If you get it for your paper trading account, it's 15-minute delay or 15 or 20-minute delay. You physically have to call them and just tell them to make it real time, and they will. They're really, really cool about it. Obviously, they might try to upsell you to put a bunch of money in, but just tell them you're learning or whatever, and keep it that way. Because if you keep whatever you're used to trading on, great. But there's no reason you shouldn't have a powerful platform to chart on. And Thinkorswim is probably the best free platform out there. Some of the other ones, they're free technically, but you have to have a minimum deposit in your account. So, 20 minutes. Okay, thanks, guys. I couldn't remember. Yeah, Robin is great. TOS is a great platform for data. Exactly. I mean, that's a great idea to use. And I actually even have I've got a Robinhood account. I don't know. It's obviously it's frustrating for me because I'm not used to it. I mean, I've only had it for a few months, and honestly, I bought it to do YOLO option plays. So I love the free commission you can't beat, but I'm just so used to Thinkorswim, and their mobile app is fantastic, so that's why I use it. But they're all great. I would say my number 2 is Tastyworks. They're actually the guys who built Thinkorswim. Went off after TD Ameritrade bought Thinkorswim. The guys went off and made Tastyworks, and that's a fantastic platform. It's more of an options man's platform, but it's fantastic. Tom, the man, the legend. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, he is. That guy. I mean, I don't agree with everything he says. He's one of those option guys that says buy lots of positions with small numbers, spread it out, not all your eggs in one basket, which I understand what he's saying, but I definitely don't agree with that. It's just you're spreading your capital around, and if you all of a sudden you need to hop in a trade and you've got all your money tied up, it's But I'm not gonna. Tom is a legend, literally. If you guys don't know who we're talking about, Google Tastyworks and check him out. That guy is a wizard. Bart, I like that comment, man. A trading platform is another skill set in trading. Wow, I've never heard anybody say that, actually. That's brilliant. Yeah, Weeble. So my the options crew in precision day trading, they're going to be laughing right now because they know I just recently downloaded Weeble because they updated their app. I love what they've done with it. It's another free one, free commissions. You can't trade options. I'm sure they will eventually, but as of now, you cannot trade options. However, just to start trading, it is fantastic. It actually has a great news feed. It has, you guys should go check it out. If you, when you get a chance today, go to your Play stores and iTunes and check out Weeble. Just even look at it for a second. It's really neat what they've done with it. I don't know. Does anybody actually use Weeble on here? Don't be shy. I promise. No one's gonna. I'll stick up for you. Daniel, we do have the scanner stream up during market hours on every day, but here soon we're going to be starting a pre-market kind of look ahead at the day, and then we're going to start, we'll be streaming, but you will end up, eventually you're going to have to hear log in through our Discord. So if hey, one of the PD guys, if you could again post the Discord link in here so these guys can go ahead and hop in there And so that way they don't miss any of this and won't ever miss the scanners. That's how we're going to start doing it here shortly. But it'll always be on. Does what have hotkeys lurking? Oh, ha ha ha. I get it. Yeah, no. that was funny. That made me laugh. I don't know how that would work on a cell phone, but okay, you guys. We had a little bit of functionality issues there, so that's why I went up a little bit longer. I will probably be signing out here in a minute. We will be back on at 7 p.m. Eastern tonight. That show will be a little bit more in depth, and there'll probably be a lot more people on there. So go ahead and maybe get some more questions. I mean, go ahead and grill us, okay? We'll all be on at 7 p.m. In the chat and the mods. So get some good questions. Check this stuff out in between now and then. Whatever's not making sense to you, let's go ahead and see. I'll leave a big gap open for Q&A tonight. So if you guys can make it back, go ahead and hop on there at 7 p.m. Eastern, and we'll try to open up a good portion, at least maybe half an hour of straight Q&A with examples, and we'll put together a couple more exact short and a couple long examples of fluff and resistance and stacking opportunities. So thanks everybody for hopping on here. Please come on over to our Discord. Check out our site. It's precisiondaytrading.com. All that's up you'll see right now is for the webinar, but lots of good content coming. The Discord community is growing every day. It's fantastic. Again, we'll be on tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. Lot more Q&A time. I just want to tell you guys, everybody, I appreciate you hanging out today, and get some questions ready. We'll be back tonight. Thanks a lot, you guys. Have a good afternoon. Have a great Sunday.